which is quite all right. All right, I hope the camera is okay. I lowered the camera. I know my husband wanted it a little higher, but I felt like the camera was showing like the top of my head. So I went ahead and Melissa, I'm gonna make you a co-host as well. If you would let the people in the room. Good evening, everyone. I am so excited. Let me know in the comments what one thing are you hopeful for or an expectation for the year for 2026. What is the thing? And it doesn't have to be one thing, but off the top of your head, if you could tell me one thing that you are hopeful for or and grateful for helping people. I see you. What else? Melanie said helping people. What else? What else? What else? What are you hopeful for or grateful for as we're now heading right smack dab steam full steam ahead into 2026? You said, I am so grateful for my new job. Super Bowl. That ain't a job. That is just literally ministry. So that ain't a job, right? That's work, right? But that ain't a job. Nope, nope, nope. That ain't a job. All right, what else do we have? What else? What else do we have? Quilting Washington. Is that a person or is that what you're hopeful for? Right? Let me know in the comments, what are you hopeful for? Like, what is it that you have high expectations about? All right. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. I'm not stalling. I really want to I want to kind of talk with you before we actually get started. We are live. So my name is Nita Moore, and I am super excited to be here with you in this first book club of 2026. The first. We made it. Celebrate making it. Celebrate being here. Let everybody know. Stop what you're doing and get here. We made it. Book club is so important, not just to me, it is the facts that leaders are readers. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And we're never, ever going to earn more than we learn. And so I am here every single Monday, as long as it's not a holiday or anything like that, or if I'm not in the air at that time, to to fill your cup, right? To fill your cup. And a lot of times we don't even know that our cups are empty. And so as we think about the fact that we just closed out with Born Rich, realizing that everything we needed was already inside of us. Bob Proctor, our uncle Bob Proctor, our mentor, taught us in that book that we just needed to do what, y'all? Rearrange things that were in our lives, but that everything we needed was already inside of us, right? That we don't have to look externally for anything that we need because it's already inside of us. There's something that was pressing on my heart as I was doing a vision experience yesterday. I do one every year, and I want you all to put this in your calendars for next year, for this year rather. I normally do it in December. For this year, let me go to the calendar. My vision experience will be held. Let's see what the calendar is like because people will be on holiday or on vacation. So we will be able to have it. Um, so the 30th is a Thursday and the 31st is a Friday. I am going to host the vision experience on Friday, December the 30th. Put it on your calendar now so you know you need to be in Atlanta on that date, right? And then I will have a very private invite only New Year's party the next day. All right. Some of y'all might get that invite. Okay. But put it on your calendar because that is the date. Friday, December the 30th. Oh, I'm sorry, that's 2027. Hold on, I don't went too far. That ain't right. Hold on. It's Wednesday, December the 30th. Okay. It'll be Wednesday, December the 30th. And people know now that they got a whole year to plan for it, that it is going to be Wednesday, December the 30th. And like I said, and then I'm going to throw an annual, this is going to be our annual thing that every year I will do the vision experience the last day of December. Is that all right? Is that okay? We're going to make sure that that's set in stone. You all know that it's there. Nobody can say I didn't tell them. Those are the dates. I'm not telling you a location yet because we don't know a location, but I am telling you that those are the dates. Now, something that I woke up really thinking about, and it's been on my mind, it's been pressing, and we are going to start our new book today. but it's been pressing on my heart. And I want you to write this down and make it personal when you write it down. How you do anything is how you do everything. I want you to write it down. How I do anything is how I do everything. Write that down. Oh, let me turn this ringer off. All right. Put it on. Put it on. 1 second. Yep. And I'm spelling all of this wrong. Write that down. How I do anything is how I do everything. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay. So there is a quote from the book Think and Grow Rich. And he says, well, let me just say this. The book Think and Grow Rich emphasizes that thoughts must be backed by definite purpose. I want you to write that down. Thoughts must be backed by definite purpose. Thoughts must be backed by desire. And then thoughts must be backed by action. Okay? Otherwise, they are just fleeting ideas, not powerful forces for riches. Riches begin in the form of thought. Please hear me. Riches begin in the form of thought. Think and grow rich. How do we grow rich? How do we grow rich? We think. Sometimes, I'm telling you, there are some questions that I get that I often wonder how people do life. This book that we're starting, as we're going back to thinking, is Think Your Way to Wealth. But how you do everything, anything, is how you do everything. So if you show up haphazard, how you do anything is how you do everything. There are a lot of us that expect to have massive success, but we don't give what we're trying to get massive success out of any time nor attention. We don't give it the attention that it deserves to yield the results that we want. We do it in some areas of our lives, but not all areas of our lives. And in 2026, it is going to require you to think. Type think in the comments. Now, I want to talk about what the word think means. Let's see. What is the definition of think? What is the definition? Hold on. Let me make sure that this is spelled. I don't know what is going on with my phone. It's just, okay. The definition of think, thank you for allowing the people in the Zoom, y'all, is to, listen to this, is to direct one's mind towards someone or something. Direct your mind, an act of thinking. There's a lot of us that are accustomed to so much being doing so much being done for us that when it's not done for us, we fall apart. Think. I want you to write plan. Think. So like, for instance, I know that at the end of the month, I will be out of the country. I'm already planning for it. And anybody that thinks that they can call me at the last day of the month, like they do sometimes, even though I say I'm done a specific day or time, they're going to be what's called SOL because I won't be here. So thinking my way to wealth, I'm already thinking, well, Nina, what steps do you need to take to make sure that you make sure your business is covered before you're busy? That's how a wealthy person plans their life. I know I'm not available such and such and such a time. So what do I have to do? I host my training on the 24th. Because I know on the 26th, I go out of the country and I won't be accessible to anyone out of the country. Does this make sense, y'all? Think. Because I know that just because I'm busy, because I was at an event on New Year's Eve with my tablet, because I was busy. Tedra was sitting right next to me, but I was at the event. They said, you got your tablet? I said, yeah, because unfortunately, I didn't have the luxury of being able to be at an event and actually enjoy the event. But it's okay, because you know what? I know what I told God I wanted. And what we tell God we want requires a different version of us, not this old haphazard version that we've been showing up as. I'm telling I'm gonna say it from every day of the month to the till the 24th that this is why you got me, because you won't have me after the 24th. So that people understand that if they miss out, it will be their own fault because they're not thinking. So we got to open up the month, we got to open up the year to think our way to wealth. What else does think? It's think is the guess what, y'all? It's a verb. Think is an action word. It means the act of thinking. The act of thinking. How do I think for myself? How would I think my way out of a situation? Where would I go for the information if somebody couldn't answer the phone? Most times, you know what we would do? We would Google it. We would Google it. But all of a sudden, when it comes down to having to move to a place of wealth or abundance, all of a sudden, we can't think. We got to think our way. So the first chapter, we're going to start with the forward. This book is going to be so good. I don't know about y'all, but I am not the same Nina that was in book club last year. And I am not the same Nina that was here a month ago. I am not that Nina. I hope that everybody gets to know the new Nina, because I'm going to pull people up with me. And I'm going to pull them up, but I'm not pulling anybody grudgingly. If people don't go when I go, I'm going. I love you. And I'll see you when you're ready. Maybe. Because this is not the season to drag people. I need y'all to put that in the comments. This is not the season to drag people. This is the season. We have led you to the promised land. And now, if you want it, the same way I had to figure it out is the same way. And you know what's so crazy is people don't even have to figure it out as much as we had to figure it out. The information is so readily available now, there's nothing to figure out. But this is the season you do not drag anyone. You don't drag them. Oh, but they got potential. Everybody got potential, but potential's a bunch of crap. Because everybody got potential. What do we do with the potential? This is not the season to drag anyone. If it means you got to watch the same video 25 times to figure it out, watch it. Think and grow rich. Many people think that it is impossible. We're reading Think Your Way to Wealth by Napoleon Hill. Many people think that it is impossible for them to build wealth or otherwise better their situation in life. They think that wealth is only for those with college degrees or rich relatives or natural talent or innate genius. They stop before they even begin trying. Oh, we starting off like that, and it's the first paragraph. They stop before they even begin trying, Mattia. They don't even try. Because it's, you know what? Well, I don't talk like that person. Let me tell y'all a confession. This is my confession. I didn't always speak the way that I speak. I had to pay a lot of money to invest in classes, right, Mattia? Mattia's known me for a very long time. She knows I'm not the same Nina. That although I was good, there's levels to this. There's levels to it. And I had to spend a lot of money. Well, no, let me stop, because I didn't spend anything. I invested a lot of money and resource to yield the result that I am looking for. Now that makes, whoa. I invested a lot of money to yield the result that I'm looking for. I could have easily said Mattia, because Mattia knows my brother Rashid. And Rashid, I used to compare myself. Tracy knows my brother Rashid. Tedra knows my brother Rashid. I used to compare myself to Rashid in the way that Rashid spoke, because Rashid spoke so summa cum laude. He spoke like a summa cum laude student, right? And Rashid didn't go to college or anything like that, y'all. But let me tell you what Rashid did. My brother is an avid reader. And because he's an avid reader, and he's also somebody that reads and retains. Well, Dr. Vanessa, I don't retain a lot. And because I don't retain like my brother did, Tracy, I thought that me reading notes that I prepared made me less effective, Linda Neal, than he was. And so I was comparing myself. I'm trying to explain that this is why you cannot do that or you'll get caught up because I have a gift too. It's just different. It's just different. And when I embraced the fact that I'm just different, and I said, okay, I don't have the natural talent of remembering all of that. It didn't make it any less effective that I actually wrote my notes out. I watched Dr. Cindy Trim, and Dr. Cindy Trim teaches and preaches from her notes. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Okay, so I stopped comparing, Mary, that I didn't know how to speak like other people and I didn't know. Y'all see what I'm saying? I didn't know how to do those videos like that. And I didn't know. And guess what I did? Matia, I just kept getting on the bike and getting on the bike and getting on the bike. And then all of a sudden, what I once did bad got good. Somebody's going to catch that. I remember my very first turkey. Where are my very first turkey people at? Well, there was no YouTube when I made my very first turkey, right? And so guess what I did? I cooked the turkey. Dr. Vanessa laughing because she already know where I'm going. She already know where I'm going. Dr. Vanessa, yup, I cooked the turkey with all the stuff inside of it. All of it. I did not know. And then I'm like, we can't even eat the turkey, Nicole, because it had all the stuff inside of it. Thank God, Tamara Bogan, that I had made other meats because I said, oh, I was supposed to take all of that out and I didn't do it. I didn't fry the first piece of chicken the right, like it wasn't perfect. Come on, y'all. Matter of fact, my first time driving on the highway, I probably was, I was sweating so bad. But what happened is, I want you to write this down. Repetition is the mother of all learning. Write it down. Repetition is the mother of all learning. And if we continue putting ourselves in a space where we won't even try, because this said they stop before they even begin trying, or they give in at the first sign of temporary defeat because deep down they believe that success is out of their reach. Whoa, this is so good. Think Your Way to Wealth disproves that all of those success fallacies and reveals that anyone can reach their major goals in life. They just have to change the way they think. Andrew Carnegie is a prime example of the democratic nature of success. With no natural gifts, important connections, or personal wealth, he advanced from the position of day laborer to that of the owner of America's largest steel company, where he accumulated one of the largest fortunes in history. It is Carnegie who first conceived of the idea of a comprehensive philosophy of personal achievement that would explain step by step exactly how the average individual could harness the power of thought to achieve their primary goal in life. And he would call their definite major purpose. Definite major purpose. I want you to write that down. Carnegie believed that we could harness the power of thought to achieve our primary goals in life. We become what we think about over and over and over again. When I stopped seeing myself as a 300-pound failure, guess what happened? Matia watched it happen. The weight just fell off. It began to, now, did I do the steps to help? Yes, I did. But without changing the way that I thought about myself, the weight would not have gone anywhere. It's called the weights that bind us. Not the physical weight, but the weights that bind us. And we can see exactly who you think you are when you walk into a room. Your energy or not, or lack of. Do you sit in a room with people and you don't say anything ever? We can see. People know what you think about yourself. Now, are there times that you're kind of just gleaning because you're trying to learn? Yeah, because you should be quiet when you're around other people that can teach you something. But people can see, because even quiet doesn't mean that you have low energy. Quiet just means you're paying attention. So Carnegie in 1908, Carnegie charged Napoleon Hill Then only a reporter from a small town newspaper with a daunting task of dedicating the next 20 years of his life to researching, studying, compiling this success philosophy. Success is a philosophy. Hill accepted the assignment and interviewed over 500 of America's most prosperous business people, inventors, and thought leaders to build out the 17 principles of individual achievement inspired by his initial conversations with Carnegie. So Carnegie is solely responsible. If you have not read Think and Grow Rich, you need to read that book. But Carnegie is solely responsible for why he wrote Think and Grow Rich. Okay? He charged him to interview people to study what commonality do these people who are successful all have? What do they all have in common? I want you to type down into the comments, what are some of the things you believe people who are wealthy have in common? Put it in the comments. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're here on the Zoom live with us, what do you believe people who are wealthy or are successful, what do they have in common? Let me see. They make decisions quickly. Absolutely, they do. Discipline. Absolutely. Discipline and consistency. Consistency. Discipline. Time management. Time management is crap. Nope. Nope. You know, time management is a trap. Now, here's the thing. Time management is a trap. Because if we believe that we can only do things during a certain amount, I was on 3 Zooms today at one time. 3 Zooms. 3 Zooms. There are systems. There is obsession. Mindset. They set goals, plans, discipline. They make no excuses. Wealthy people, successful people don't allow the reason why they do something to be the same reason why they don't. Ooh. So, Think Your Way to Wealth presents all 17 success principles as they were first described to Hill by Carnegie and other high achieving individuals. The interviews that form the basis of the success system are reproduced in this book. So this one is solely going to talk about a lot of what Think and Grow Rich was birthed from. Is that exciting or what? Because I don't know about y'all, but Think and Grow Rich changed my life. It changed my life. Okay? So imagine now that all of the principles, the interviews, all of those things are lying in the pages of Thinking Our Way to Wealth. We're going to hear this a different kind of way now. The interviews that form the basis of the success system reproduced in this book so that you can eavesdrop on the dialogue between Hill and Carnegie and learn how to implement the building blocks of success. Write that down. We're learning how to implement the building blocks of success to completely transform our lives. Initially published in 1948, this work has been condensed and modernized so that today's readers can derive the most value from their study of the philosophy of personal achievement. For maximum application, end of chapter summaries and action prompts have been added so that you can begin the important work of taking control of your mind. So what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to take control of our mind. So we can take control of our mind. That is important. Whatever mind we thought from last year doesn't serve us this year. No, we got to elevate. We're going to dominate this year. That's the word we used at our vision experience yesterday. We're going to dominate. Okay? So control of our mind. After all, it is only by changing your thought habits. What do we have to change? Our thought habits. It is only by changing our thought habits that you can improve your behavioral habits. So when we change our thought habits, what also changes? Our behavior. Our behavior. And as a result, it will alter the trajectory of our lives. Along the way, we'll discover that there's more to it than just improving your mindset. as you rid your mind of aimless, passive, aimless thoughts, as well as negative thought impulses such as fears, criticisms, and doubts, and actively replace them with intentional, constructive thoughts. Intentional. So, what are we doing? Listen to what this is saying. We're in the forward. Melissa, this is the forward. We're changing the way we think, our thoughts, aimless thoughts, negative thought impulses, fears, criticisms, and doubts, and actively replace them with intentional, constructive thoughts. What kind of thoughts are we now going to have? Intentional, constructive thoughts. And you will operate on a higher plane of thinking that will invite opportunities. Because when we have intentional, constructive thoughts, we operate on a higher plane of thinking that will invite opportunities, attract positive relationships, and improve your creativity so that you can take your success journey to the next level and derive more joy and fulfillment out of life. Note from the author. Note from Jennifer Jancek, PhD. In reading this book, you are invited to join the mastermind that produced the most famous achievement system of all time. Make the most of the insights shared with you by studying it on your own. What does that say? Studying it on your own, right? On your own. And with a group of success-minded individuals like this, as you contemplate these principles individually and collectively and put them into action on a daily basis, you will discover that you can truly think your way to wealth. How often do we have to put these thoughts into action? What does it say? So chapter 1, we're going to start chapter 1. Chapter 1 is definiteness of purpose. So this is a conversation between Napoleon Hill and Carnegie. I will tell you when Hill is talking. I will tell you when Carnegie is talking, okay? Because a lot of this is going to be, this is literally, so basically what we're eavesdropping on, this is so cool, y'all, is the conversation between the coach and the mentor and the mentee. Y'all hear that? This is what this is an eavesdrop of. So we're going to start with Hill. Mr. Carnegie, he says, please explain to me the achievement principles you implemented to raise yourself from a position of little money, little influence, and education to one of great wealth. Describe the exact steps you took so that those who are not able to consult with successful individuals such as yourself may replace your results. Would you agree that that's a pretty darn great question, right? Would you agree with that? How many of you would agree with that? So Carnegie says, listen to this, very well, on one condition, that you organize these rules into a philosophy of success that is made available to every person who has the ambition to master it. In this way, you will help me distribute the true wealth in my estate. So he said that the true wealth, Melissa, wasn't really what's in the bank. The true wealth, Mary Fitzgerald, are the steps that he's taking here. The steps that he's taking here. And now he's saying, okay, Napoleon Hill, but you got to put them in a book. You got to organize those thoughts. Okay, he says, fortune to my estate, a fortune that can go further than my financial principles of personal achievement that I am entrusting to you. As you compose this success philosophy, so what is this thinking your way to wealth? Is a success what? It's a success philosophy. And as you compose this success philosophy, you must compare my experiences to those of other, high achievers to ensure that it meets the needs of the wildest range of individuals possible, regardless of their field or purpose in life. Moreover, the philosophy must clearly indicate what actions lead to success and what steps lead to failure. Napoleon Hill said, I accept your conditions and I guarantee and I won't quit until I've completed this project. Now, here's what I want people to take note of. Y'all know it took him 20 years to write the book. It took Napoleon Hill 20 years and over 500 interviews to finish this project. Carnegie says, okay, there are 17 major principles of success, and every successful individual must use some combination of these principles. Oh, this is about to get good. He says the first of these principles is the definiteness of purpose. No one has ever succeeded without applying it. Study any individual who has achieved lasting success. That is key. Let me tell you why that's key, Tara. Because there's a lot of people who hit a lick one time. There's a lot of people who hit a lick maybe twice. But there's very few people who have lasting success. It's a study any individual who has achieved lasting success, and you will find that they have a definite major goal and a plan for attaining that goal. Moreover, they dedicate the majority of their thoughts and efforts to achieving their goal. We were in here looking earlier at my vision. You know, the board is not the real application. So the board is just a representation of what we've planned, which is why my vision experiences are different. We don't just get together and cut pictures out. We actually get together and we format a plan. We have a lesson as we understand how we're ending one season and entering another. So I looked at my board, and Grace was in here earlier and she was doing a little video, and she just looked at my board for 2024. And then she looked at my board for 2025. And then she looked at the board I did yesterday for 2026. And she said, wow. So I see now that there are things you put on your board in 2024 that you have on your board 24, 25, and 26. Why would I still have it on my board? Because it didn't come to pass yet. Why are we so busy going, if it didn't happen in 24, what part that didn't happen in 24, 25 are on your 26 board? Because if it hasn't happened, why are you changing a vision? Why are you changing a dream? Why are you changing what the outcome is supposed to be? I have yet, now I am going this year, this month, as a matter of fact. So because I did get it in December of 2025. But I decided to still put it on my board in 2026 because it hadn't manifested in the physical yet. Dubai was on my board in 24. Here's 24 right here. Dubai was on my 24. Y'all see it. Dubai is on my 25, which is my prayer board from last year, hanging over there. And Dubai is on my 26 board. It's in the other room. Paul's putting my string on it to hang it up because it hasn't manifested yet. So that's definiteness of purpose. Why are you changing the vision? Just because it didn't happen in 24, if you believe that it's supposed to happen, why is it not on your board again? Oh, because it didn't happen that year? Maybe you didn't have the capacity for it to happen that year. Maybe you were still a slow decision maker. Maybe God said, I can't entrust you with that. You don't have enough faith. Maybe you don't have your energy ain't right. Maybe it was you. So why would you take it off? Definiteness of purpose, right? So it says, moreover, they dedicate the majority of their thoughts and efforts to achieving their goal. My major purpose in making and marketing steel, a purpose that I established when I was a laborer. This purpose became my obsession. It became his obsession, he said. I thought about it day and night until it became more than a mere wish. It became my burning desire. My burning desire. Only definite major purposes that become burning desires will yield the results that you want. You should write that down. Only definite major purposes. I hear what people say they want, but then I look at their actions. This book says only definite major purposes that become burning desires will yield the results that you want. One of my desires, a burning desire, is that I see the world be able to live a drug-free life. One of my major desires is to be consistently at $150,000 a month in income. I didn't say it had to come from one place. It's written, it's on my board, it's on the check. And I really was convicted last night, and I was like, I gotta up that number. I was convicted. So everybody wishes for the good things in life. They wish for money, they wish for fame, prestige, and influence. Let me tell you something. Success will yield those things if you just become the version of yourself that the world needs. You don't have to wish for fame. Let me tell you something else you don't have to do. If you're already in the room, why are you showing off in the room or trying to pitch yourself when you're in a room that you already, if you're in the room, you belong there. So now you don't have to prove to anybody that you should be in a room if you're there. If you're in the room, you belonged there. For whatever reason, you were allowed in that space. But remember, just because we get in the room, right, Tammy? We've seen it happen. Don't mean you stay in the room. Everything about us at that point keeps us in the room or not. But we don't have to prove anything if we're already in the room. So all of those things for the good things in life, money, fame, prestige, influence. But most people never make it past the wishing stage. We don't make it past the wishing stage. When you know exactly what you want in life and are determined to get it, you won't merely wish for it. You'll intensify your wish until it becomes a burning desire. What thing is a burning desire for you? It was a burning desire for me when I said I would never be broke another day of my life. It was a burning desire for me. You know, I used to say I want $100 a day. I'm going to earn $100 a day. I'm going to earn $100 a day. Now I'm saying I'm going to earn $1,000 a day. And you know, for the last couple of days, I've had $1,000 days. I've had $1,000 days. Because I'm saying, you know what? I can't keep getting stuck repeating and reciting the things that I've been reciting over and over and over again. If you've already had $100 days, why are you still reciting I'm gonna make $100 a day? So you're just gonna keep repeating and on being on the wheel, the hamster wheel that goes round and around and around and around and around and around and around. So some of you, when we were doing the vision experience yesterday, and I was looking at some of the checks that I kind of glanced at a few of them. A lot of people put their income that they already earn with a little bit of an edge on it. That is not stretching you. You know what happens, Linda Neal, when we do this? Here's the goal, right? We've already made it here. Everybody see this? Let me put it on screen. Let me put everybody on the screen real quick so I can see all of you, right? Here's the thing, right, Zena? We already achieved this. This is the trophy. And what a lot of people do, Zena, you know what they do? They put the goal right here, right there. You know why they do that? Because it's convenient. They don't put the goal up here. So you hit this mark. This needs to be the next mark. But let me tell you what has to happen. I'm sorry, let me let this lady in. What has to happen between this goal and this goal? Guess what has to happen, Nicole? Guess what has to happen, Pastor Sean? The person that hit this goal is not the person that will hit this goal. The problem is we don't want this in between. If you had the capacity to hit this goal, being this person, guess what would have happened? You would have done it already. But because you don't, it doesn't make us a bad person. See, this is what's wrong. People are like, ain't nothing wrong with me. No, there is something wrong with us. There's something wrong with us if we're looking in that proverbial mirror and we don't think that we need to change. Because who we were at this trophy is not who we need to be at this trophy. In order for somebody, think about it in track and field. In order for someone to win the trophy, they have to run and break a record that not only they have never broken before, but the people that are in the race have never broken before. They're not racing to continue to hit the same numbers. Do y'all see that? Is this helping anybody? Y'all like, what in the world? Why did we had to come in like this, Nina? We just wanted to celebrate on the first, huh? We cannot. Who you are at $100,000 a year is not who you're going to be at $250,000 a year, at $500,000 a year. If you made more money than you've ever made, and a lot of people that I know in the month of November this year made more money in 1 month than they've ever made. Tell the truth. Now, who are you going to become? Because it happened, but how do you get it to happen again? You become. Write it in the comments. Become. And it felt real good. But now who do you become to continue to see that income? And I mean, for those of y'all that are in business with me, wait till y'all hear the CEO that made it easier again for everybody to make that kind of money again. Like when I tell y'all January gonna be a party, okay? So the book says, my major purpose is making steel, definite purpose, right? Everyone wishes for a good life. And then he says, when you know exactly what you want in life, you're determined to get it and you won't merely wish for it. You'll intensify your wish until it becomes a burning desire. And you'll support that desire with continuous efforts based on a sound plan. A plan supported by other individuals, all great achievement requires, the coordination of harmonious minds. Are you around harmonious minds? Are you around people who want what you want? No. That's why y'all go get sucked in to doing all of this other stuff with a bunch of people that don't even want what you want. And you keep doing it because it's what you know. Everyone wishes for good things in life, such as money, fame, prestige, and influence, but most people never make it past the wishing stage. So Napoleon Hill says, but in order to achieve your definite major purpose, you had to have access to a large amount of money, right? To use as operating capital. You originally had meager financial resources. So how did you obtain this? Please be detailed in your response, because so many individuals refrain from pursuing their major purpose because they lack money. Carnegie says, the first step from poverty to riches is the most difficult. All riches begin as a clear, concise mental picture of the thing one seeks. When this picture dominates the mind as an obsession, there's that word again, Misha, obsession. Some hidden law of nature causes the subconscious mind to guide the individual toward the material equivalent of the mental picture. So why are so many people not seeing success or wealth or abundance? Because you haven't seen it yet. You won't picture it yet. You know why? Because you're like, I don't have the money to do it. I don't have the influence to do it. I don't have the body to do it. I don't speak well. I don't have the network to do it. I don't have a lot of followers on social media. I don't have this and I don't have that. Blah, 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 booty to do, booty to do, the boo de boo. And that's why this book said, Carnegie says, it is the moment you get your mental picture in check. You are the reason why you have not obtained or achieved what you want, because it has to become obsession. For example, he says, for example, knew that I wanted to make steel. So I nurtured that desire until it became a burning obsession that consumed me day and night. Then I induced others to join in my plan to make and market steel forming a mastermind group in order to coordinate our efforts. What once was 4 men soon became 20, and we multiplied our efforts to persuade others to supply us with the capital we required. Don't tell me that all of us, let me look at everybody right now. Those of you that got your cameras on, don't tell me that all of us can't think the same thought, walk the same walk, like literally being synced, harmonious so much that we can't create multiple millions of dollars together. We're doing something right now that's so big. And if every one of us are just like left, right, left. So for those of us that are business, if you're in business with me, because I know some of you are not in business with me, but for those of you that are, when we patch, post, share, care, patch, post, share, care, patch, post, share, care, patch, post, share, care, patch, post, share, care. And it's a rhythm. Do you hear? Carnegie says, I induced them. Do you hear what he says? I induced them. Maybe y'all didn't hear that. He said, I induced them. That's what he said. I don't even remember where we were. I done skipped the page. I'm going to find it. Give me a second. I done got excited. He says, I induced them. Definite plan. When you organize your philosophy of success, you will soon notice that as truly successful individuals begin, as I did, with a definite purpose. I read that. We read that. I think we read this. No, I don't even know where we are. Carnegie says, depends on one's nature, desire, self-imposed limitations. I don't know. I'm only on page 2. Okay. Here we go. Everyone wishes for good things in life, as such money and fame. Carnegie says the first step. There we go. For example, he wanted to make steel. He says what once was 4 men soon became 20. You all, let me tell you something. Where we are right now in this mission and movement, and I got to talk about this a little bit. Normally, I don't do this on book club because I know that not everybody's in business with me. But where we are in this 1 million mission, we start at 1 million, we go further. Started with about 5 of us on a Zoom. It started with just 5 of us on a Zoom. While this patch 1 million mission, and although we start with 1 million, we'll go past 1 million. It started with 5 people on a Zoom. It started with somebody calling me to tell me to look at a video. Do you see where we are right now? That our team is getting ready to cross 5,000 people. Out just from me. I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. It started with just 5 people on a Zoom where I was saying, y'all, I don't know about this. But what are y'all thinking? We all were like, I don't know. I don't know about this. Carnegie says, I induced others to join in my plan to make and market steel, forming a mastermind group in order to coordinate our efforts. We can induce others to join in our plan. Come on, somebody. We can induce others to, do you know what the word induce means? Let me get that, see, because we don't understand that that's not a bad word. We got to understand what is the definition of the word induce. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. Let's look it up. Let's look up the definition of induce because some of y'all should know what it means based on when they induce women in labor. So to induce is to succeed in persuading or influencing someone to do something. To induce is to bring about or give rise to. To induce is to bring forth. So the book says, Carnegie says, I induced others to join in my plan to make and market steel, forming a mastermind group in order to coordinate our efforts. What once was 4 men soon became 20, and we multiplied our efforts to persuade others to supply us with the capital we required. Do y'all see how this works? Think. What is the book? Think your way to wealth. All riches begin as a clear, concise mental picture of the thing one seeks. What do you seek? Here's the thing. Let me tell you this. I'm going to say it again. Let me ask you again. What do you seek? Because there's a good book that I read, and I'm sure that many of you read it too, that says what you seek, you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened unto you. So, what are you seeking? Because that is what you're finding. So, Napoleon Hill comes back, and we're almost done, and says, are you saying that having definiteness of purpose causes nature to facilitate the accomplishment of your primary objective? You mean to tell me that if I just am certain about what I want and I'm obsessed about what I want and I act like I know what I want, and Zena, I got a mental picture of what I want, and then I can induce others to work my plan with me and come with their capital, and then we can make big missions together. You mean to tell me that then the world facilitates this accomplishment of my primary objective, all based on the aura that I put out in the atmosphere? You mean to tell me? Yes, that's what I mean to tell you, based on what the book says. The book says, and Carnegie comes back and says, when you organize your philosophy of success, you will soon notice that all truly successful individuals begin as I did, with a definite purpose and a definite plan for carrying it out. You will also notice that they do not have to put forth great effort, any more great effort than others who are not succeeding. For instance, some people wonder why those with extensive schooling often fail, while others with far less education succeed. Y'all, I don't have a college degree. I don't sound summa cum laude, and I don't put down degrees either, because I'm glad all my friends got degrees, right? But I don't have I got a PhD, a public high school diploma. That's what I got. I've got a degree in Google research. Yes, I do. Yep, I got a real good degree in ChatGPT, is what I call my friend, right? I got good degrees in those things because I am not afraid to seek the information out. Okay, but I didn't study well. I wasn't like a good student. I didn't do good in locked environments of study. Ah! Some of y'all heard that. I didn't do well in locked environments of study because my brain couldn't stay on the target. Like, this is too much for me to sit me in a room and you want me to sit still for 30, 40 hours a week. I don't do well in those environments. I'm a bird, I'm supposed to fly. And you can't contain me to a desk and then tell me I'm not acting really because I don't want to sit at your little desk. I don't do well taking that test. You said I need to know that information, and that information doesn't apply to what I know my definiteness of purpose is, and that is to be an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a global entrepreneur, a speaker, an inspirer, a motivational speaker, somebody that teaches people who they really are. I wasn't bound to a desk. So I didn't do well in those arenas. But this says most people didn't even have a degree. That's what it says. It says they didn't have a degree. They didn't go to, for instance, some people wonder why those with extensive schooling, they didn't have a degree. It says this is because nature, listen, aids those with a positive mental attitude in converting their aims and purposes into their physical and financial equivalent. So, Nicole, nope, I didn't have a degree, although I went to the #1 high school in Philadelphia, which was the Philadelphia High School for Girls. But you know what it did for me, what I did? This says that my aims and purposes, so my positive and mental attitude, because Nicole, I may not have had a degree, but what I had more than some people that have degrees don't have is I had a positive mental attitude. And then what happened is it converted my aims and purposes into my physical and financial equivalent. Somebody ought to get excited today. Well, Napoleon Hill comes back and says, I love this book. Let me tell you how I love this book. I think I love this more than Think and Grow Rich, okay? How many of y'all read Think and Grow Rich with me? I don't know, y'all. This one is like up there. This is literally chapter 1. So Napoleon Hill says, well, how long does it take for one's mental attitude to begin to attract what one desires? Carnegie says, well, that depends entirely on the nature of one's desires and the control one exercises over the mind and keeping it free from all negative thoughts and influences such as fear, doubt, and self imposed limitations so that it can remain open to the guidance of infinite intelligence. Oh my goodness. My goodness, my goodness. So you mean to tell me it ain't my sponsor, it's not my mama, it's not my neighborhood, it's not my dad left, it's not my divorce, it's not my schooling, it's not my degree, it's not none of those things that keep me from leveling up? Oh, it's not that I got a big nose or I got small feet or I got big hands or I'm overweight. Oh, it's none of those things. So it's none of those things that keeps me from leveling up. It's none of those things. This says it depends entirely on the nature of one's desires. So you mean to tell me that at any time that I wanted to be different, that I could have been different based on the nature of my desires? And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, because we have people of all ages listening in and watching, I want you to know that your age has nothing to do with it. And oftentimes I find people grow older in age and lack wisdom because they think that because of their age that they don't have to be accountable to anything or anyone. Well, I'm grown. Well, I'm older. I'm this, I'm that. Well, I'm this. And I hate when I hear that. Because that means that they've stopped living. The moment we stop growing, right, Dr. Vanessa, is the moment we stop living. The moment we can't be told anything is the moment we stop living. They might as well go on and be in the grave because they're just sitting there as empty space, telling you that I have no desire to grow and or change. Well, the timeline can be best determined by calculating the amount of time it will take to render the service or provide something equivalent in value to the object of one's desire. For there is a definite connection between giving and getting. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. So this book just says, here's the problem. Everybody wants something. But what are you giving? There was a season, it's funny, Pastor Sean, every time I see Stanisha Graham, and y'all can ask her, she's talked about it on her lives and everything. I think Tedra will be able to affirm this with me. Alicia will be able to affirm this with me. Every single time I see Stanisha, I give her a gift. Every time. And guess what, Tracy DeLoach? Tracy DeLoach does that for me. But and Tracy's not working right now. Tracy, here's what's so crazy. And Stanisha is much younger than me. But I understand her value. See, that's the problem. We're so busy thinking about what's in it for me. And still to this day, every time I see her, I don't care if it's a book, I don't care if it's a notebook, I don't care if it's a pen, I don't care if it's money, I don't care if it's every time I see Stanisha, you know why? Let me tell y'all why. I'm sowing where I want to grow. Sow where you want to grow. Sow where you want to grow. And every single time I see her, I give her a gift. Every time. Every time. I don't say that to that wasn't a public thing. That was because this book says, for there is a definite connection between giving and getting. You see what I'm saying? Napoleon Hill says, in other words, nature does not support efforts to get something for nothing. Could run around the room. Wait a minute. So nature does not support efforts to get something for nothing. That's the problem. Too many people want something or sitting around expecting somebody to do something for them. I don't expect anything. I'm giving and giving. And here's the deal, Pastor Sean, I'm her number one producer. I don't technically have to give her anything. But not only, especially her birthday came up, her birthday, Christmas, we went out of our way to think about something. What can we give her that would be meaningful? And still, because I understand that nature says, oh, it doesn't support this effort to get something for nothing. Carnegie says that's correct. Nature reinforces cause and effect relationships. Oh my goodness. Lasting riches and material things do not come to people out of thin air. They generally are the reward for useful service that has been rendered. So while success begins as a definite major purpose, this purpose cannot be carried out fully unless it is backed by the support of natural law, which requires a cause. Useful service performed in a spirit of harmony. Napoleon Hill comes back and says, well, how should a person express their definite major purpose? Can they merely hold it in their hand, in their mind rather, or must they communicate it some other way? Carnegie comes back and says, well, it depends on how disciplined one's mind is. If your thoughts don't retain their clarity or strength, or if they don't translate into action without external support, then you would benefit from writing down a detailed description of your definite major purpose and reading it aloud once a day. What do you have to do? You got to write down what your definite purpose is. Your definite major purpose is what the book says. And then it says you got to read it aloud once a day. That's what it says. Okay? You got to read it aloud once a day. I myself employed this habit of reading aloud my major purpose, and not to myself only. I met nightly with my mastermind group and discussed how to create plans to achieve my primary goal. Hill says, some people complain that you have amassed extensive riches while the individuals you employ remain poor by comparison. How do you respond to these accusations? We're about to be done. This is the last page. How do you respond to these? Carnegie says, I would gladly give money away to my employees if I thought that it would not harm them. Uh-oh. I would gladly give them a bunch of money if I didn't think it would harm them. Individuals rarely, oh my gosh, I want to see everybody's face right here. Whoa, wait a minute, let me read it first. Individuals rarely profit from money that they have not earned. And I highly doubt that many of my workers would willingly take over my responsibilities and put in the hours that I do. Those workers like Charles Schwab, who provides superior service than that required for their position, and by doing so make my job easier, reap the financial benefits. Individuals who take this approach in their work are often able to command a higher income. Basically, you didn't do the work. When you get the money from it, you don't even appreciate. What are you even talking about here? That's kind of like somebody saying, who you going to put under me and my... I don't have to put nobody under you and your business. It's your business. And for people to expect that is asinine. Oh, why you didn't put them under me? Because I didn't have to. And when I do put somebody there, it's a gift. If I choose that, that's what I want to do. But that I don't have to do that. But that's like saying that. Why you didn't put that person? Why are we watching somebody else's business? That's crazy. And then people actually be walking around with attitudes. I can't believe they signed that person. Look at how they work. They ain't put them under me. And oh well. That's not, they don't have to do that. Where were you at closeout? Oh, this says give people money that they haven't earned. Whoa. In reality, I don't dictate my workers' salaries. Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. This is about to be, I'm going to end right here because I don't even know if we could take much more. Okay. I'm in the bottom of this page. In reality, I don't dictate my workers' salaries. They determine their own salaries by the sort of service they provide. Oh my gosh. Which can be calculated using the following formula. Listen to this formula. Somebody can type it in the comments. The quality and quantity of one's service. The quality and quantity of one's service plus, here we go, plus the mental attitude in which one renders it. So, what kind of spirit do you have while you're rendering their service? Hmm? Hmm? Are you doing it because you're looking for something in return? Are you doing it to just be in rooms so you can be newsy and hear stuff that you shouldn't know anyway? What are you doing it for? How are you around people that can help you grow and elevate and you're not growing? How? How do you hear the things you need to help you become a better person and you leave there and don't change? The quality and quantity of one's and plus the mental attitude in which one renders equals the value of one's contributions. That's the last line. Equals the value of one's contributions and thus one's wages. So what you earn is based on the quality and the quantity of your service and the mental attitude in which you render that service. That will determine the value of your contribution and then how much you're worth or how much you make. Not just because you think somebody's supposed to do something for you. Therefore, there is nothing unfair or unjust about the salary differences amongst my workers. Napoleon Hill says, from what you're saying, it seems that the most of the men who work for you don't have a definite major purpose. Otherwise, they'd be as rich as you. Is that right? I'm going to stop right there. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. I don't know if our hearts can take it. Look, Grace over here in the corner like Sheila Mukunda. We're going to start right there. Let me look. Everybody, it's okay. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Wow. Woo-wee. At the top of the year, this thing is going to give us a jab, uppercut. Listen, everybody, we're in this together, okay? Let me put this in here as a little, I'm using this peace patch as my marker for the page that we left off on, because wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. What is your major money moment? So money moment is like if somebody said, what's your takeaway from today? Right? I don't like the word takeaway. And I don't like the word takeaway. First of all, wait, let me go ahead and end this Zoom. Let me end it real quick so we can knock it offline. All right, so I am Nina Moore, and I am so grateful that you joined us for week 1 of January 2026, well, not just January, but of the 2026 Read and Reign with Nina book club, right? I started this book club back in 2019 or so during COVID when I realized that people start books but don't finish them. And I wanted to make reading an enjoyable process. So meet me on Mondays, unless there's a holiday or something like that, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be diving through Think Your Way to Wealth by Napoleon Hill as the first book of 2026. Remember to enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of your week. Be kind to one another, do a good deed, and pay it forward. And if you have any desire to know how to level up in your finances, then you can meet us right back here on this Zoom line Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same Zoom, right? So that you can hear about how we are changing the world through impact and influence and showing them how to have a drug-free way of living. So good night.